Zark versus everyone. People have been hyping up this duel for a while, right? Like, I feel like, it honestly hasn't been a while, I think a few days, but I feel like people have been talking a lot about this duel in particular. So I'm really excited about it. This video of TGS Anime explaining the duel is 50 minutes. It's 50 minutes. So yeah, let's try to see how that goes. Like, I've been informed that when they say everyone, they actually mean everyone. It's kind of like everyone is here in Smash Bros. Ultimate. So let's see.
Zark versus everyone. Asta, Sora, Kite, Shun, Jack, Gong, Crow, Sawatari, Leo, Reggie, and finally Rayra/Ray all take on Zark.
What the what the hell, dude? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Asta, Sora, Kite, Shun, Jack, Gong, Crow, Sawatari,
Dude,
Leo,
what?
Reggie, and finally Rayra/Ray.
You know what's
all take
the funny part is that I don't know like 30% of these people. It's 11 people. Dude, how does this gonna work? How is this gonna work? No way. All right, dude.
Zark in his fused form.
Whatever
if
you
Zark
say,
wins
bro.
the duel, he'll destroy the entire world. So it's really important that if anybody's about to lose, somebody else needs to jump into the duel to make sure that duel doesn't end. However, every time they jump into a duel, they take 2,000 damage as an intrusion penalty. Spoilers, Zark beats everyone. If anybody's about to lose, somebody else, Ray, all take on Zark in his fused form. If Zark wins the duel, he'll destroy the entire world. So it's really important that if anybody's about to lose, somebody else needs to jump into the duel to make sure that duel doesn't end. However, every time they jump into a duel, they take 2,000 damage as an intrusion penalty. Spoilers!
How does that work? How is that going to work?
Except for his final opponents. So my question then becomes, despite all these high caliber characters being involved in this duel, the length of the duel in this hype train, really? Could nobody get the win on Zark? Well, when we find out how insanely protected and how many bloody effects he's got on the field, I'm not surprised he didn't lose, to be honest with you. However, it's important.
Interesting, dude. That is so interesting. Basically, it's like a free-for-all where people can jump in mid-duel, but they lose LP if they do. What? The new players start with less LP, right? It's not that they all share the same LP. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have like that many people, right? Is that how it works? I hit an intrusion penalty, I swear. It made no sense to keep it active here. Oh yeah, they interrupt the duel no matter what. Otherwise, Zark will win. Zark will win. The intrusion penalty sucks. 2000 LP damage is annoying. Zark wanted to entertain people like Yuya. One time he accidentally harmed his opponent and crowd loved the violence. Zark hosted a gladiator match and became a violent person himself. Sadist. It's a penalty for interruption and already started duel. Alright, you know what? Let's just watch.
Bloody effects he's got on the field, I'm not surprised he didn't lose, to be honest with you. However, it's important to be thorough, so we're going to analyze the entire duel and see if anyone could have won the duel a little bit earlier. Before we jump into the duel, I just want to remind everyone, today's video is sponsored by myself.
Let's go, sponsor!
If you want to buy any of my merch, you're more than welcome to. The two main collections to get at the moment are the Penultimate series, or if you'd rather, the Purple Eyes Grey Dragon version.
Purple Eyes Grey Dragon.
Link is in the description
we love that.
down
We love
below,
that.
and if not, no worries, it's all good. So without further ado, let's jump into this really long duel.
Duel someone who's already low on LP with full LP yourself.
The duel begins and Zark goes first.
Yeah, I guess
His
so.
opening hand consists of Supreme King Gate 0, Supreme King Gate Infinity, Supreme King Dragon Dark Worm, another copy of Supreme King Dragon Dark Worm, and Supreme Rage. Zark places his Scale 0, Supreme King Gate 0, and Scale 13, Supreme King Gate Infinity into his Pendulum Zones. Now, once per turn, while these monsters are in his Pendulum Zones, Zark can Pendulum summon as many monsters as he wants from his hand or face up from his extra deck if they have levels
0 to
between
13,
these
dude,
scales.
what the hell?
So essentially, monsters from level 1 to level 12. Basically everything.
Yeah.
Zark immediately initiates a Pendulum Summon. He brings out the two Supreme King Dragon Dark Worms in his hand. Zark ends his turn here. With the field that Zark is built right now, there's actually a lot of stuff going on.
That's what people fear.
The opponents
this is what
won't be any the wiser
fear
of what's happening because Zark doesn't explain what anything does. So to keep you guys in the light, know what's going on, this is what Zark has on the field at the moment. Gate 0's pendulum effect is it reduces any damage Zark would take to 0, but while Zark controls a monster, he cannot perform a pendulum summon. Gate Infinity's pendulum effect increases Zark's life points by the amount Zark would have taken if he would have taken damage. But if Supreme King Gate 0 isn't in the other pendulum zone, this card destroys itself. Finally,
wait, that kind of sounds like it's like you can just destroy one of those things, right? You can just destroy one of these and they and Zark cannot do anything, right? It loses to Mystical Space Typhoon. Or am I missing something? Am I dumb? I will say the Supreme King Zark card border is the anime does look really cool when you see it. Okay. No one runs back row removal in the anime. Yeah, I guess there will be a match if it wasn't for that. But I feel like that would make for an interesting, for like something, dude. You're supposed to destroy them that makes them go into other stuff. No. Typical villain strategy, not telling what his effects do. Yeah, but you still take the damage.
Monster effect is that if it's targeted for an attack while another Supreme King monster is on the field, it can negate the attack. Simplified, Zark can't take any damage. Any damage he would have taken instead increases his life points. His Dark Worms can't be attacked while there's another Supreme King monster on the field, so they just can't be attacked. And the worst thing of them all, the opponents don't know any of these effects, which is going to be a running theme for this duel. Basically, it's all about learning Zark's entire deck and every single card that he has, which is funny because Pendulum Monsters have like 2 paragraphs on every single one of the cards. So it's a lot for the protagonists to learn. And yeah, it's going to be a long learning process for them. So with that all out the way, it's Asta's turn and he draws.
No way,
His hand consists of Destiny Hero Drill Dark, Destiny Hero Decider, Polymerization, the Soul Burst, the Hypernova, and a mysterious card. Asta immediately activates Polymerization. He fuses
what are we
his
getting
Drill Dark
exactly?
with Decider to make Destiny Hero Dystopia. When summoned, its effect activates, letting Asta choose one of the materials used for its summon and then deal its attack as damage. Asta chooses Decider, intending to deal 1600 damage to Zark.
But what's going to happen
Zark
instead?
reveals his Pendulum Monster's effects. Gate 0 negates all damage he takes, while Gate Infinity instead increases his life points by the damage he would have taken.
Shut up, dude. What the hell is this? Completely balanced. Oh my god, there isn't a judge either, so it's worse. They really need a judge there. More busted anime card effects. Even if anime characters run back row removal, the writers will make the card say it cannot be destroyed by card effects. You know what? I think you're right. That they may have done something like that. I think that would make sense. But it's weird that they don't try the obvious thing, I guess. They would just have the destruction help the player, like walking the dragon. Oh yeah, like it can be replaced by something even better or something, right? This is why you read your opponent cards. You can't in the anime, right? I don't think you can. Aster my goat getting washed.
Instead, gains 1600 life points.
Oh my god.
Aster moves into his battle phase and attempts to attack one of the Dark Worms. However, Zark reveals the effect of Dark Worm, which negates any attack as long as there's another Supreme King monster on the field. Dystopia's attack is negated. Aster moves into his main phase 2 and activates his D-Soul Burst. Due to this card's
everything
effect,
is D.
he can
I
halve
love
the
this.
attack of a Destiny Hero monster he controls to inflict damage to both himself and the opponent equal to the attack it lost. He halves Dystopia's attack. Zark takes no damage and instead gains 1400 life points. Asta, on the other hand, takes the first damage of the duel. Now, at first, this might seem like a completely ridiculous play. We're making the opponent stronger, us weaker, and we've just halved the attack of our monster on the field. What are we doing? Well, our monster has another effect. You see,
there's more. Nice.
Second ability is, if its stats change, it can destroy a card on the field. Asta chooses to destroy one of the 2 Dark Worms in order to get rid of the negate attack effect from the field.
Not the pendulum? Or can they not be destroyed during, like, in not one of the scales? Hello, Pablo. They did both things for Cielo Foricalcos. If they could go that hard on filler, they could go even harder for this guy. Yeah, I think so. Aster, I should have really asked what your cards do. We're in the anime. You gotta explain your powers. That's true. I can damage you, so I will kill... There were more pendulum monsters? Yeah, but they say card, not monster, right? Yeah, art design is very weird. It's not even how he's supposed to look like when he was alive. Yeah, he becomes like a demon guy. It doesn't even look like a demon. It looks more like a gargoyle or something.
Field. And just a small little mistake. Decided that was used for the fusion material of Dystopia. That had an ability in the graveyard that when Aster would have taken damage, he could actually negate that damage and then add it back to his hand.
Duel.
So rather than take that damage from his own card, he could have negated the damage and then returned the monster. And I think he still would have been able to destroy a card as well. So that was an option. Never actually happened. Would it made a difference? Not really, but I don't know. He could have done it. Aster sets his D Hypernova. I feel like
this should be really hard to script.
Did Aster have any alternative monsters he could have gone into when he fused? No. Aster throughout Arc 5 only played 2 fusion monsters, Dystopia and Dusktopia. Dusktopia requires Dystopia to be summoned, so literally there was nothing else he could have gone into. While I have no doubt he probably played more fusion monsters, we never see them, so I've got nothing else to sort of compare it to. And as you know, legacy characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 play completely different decks to their original counterparts. They almost never have the same cards, so it's unlikely he had any of his original Destiny heroes from the timeline we know him from. And of course, the best question different timeline. Cool. Why did Aster destroy a Dark Worm? Why not destroy one of the pendulum?
That's exactly what I was asking.
Well, I think he maybe thought that Sora was going to go a bit more on the attack, maybe get rid of the rest of his life points. That doesn't happen. But yes, getting rid of one of the pendulum scales would have been the better choice, especially since if Zero is destroyed, Infinity
destroy
goes
the other one
with it. Obviously, Aster doesn't know this, so that's probably why he destroyed one of the pendulum scales.
Right.
Got rid of both of the pendulum scales.
He just
doesn't
know.
Opinion, getting rid of a mechanic off the field that is literally going to bring back monsters every single turn and is making it so that you don't take any damage. That felt like the much smarter move to make. So, I think it was a misplay, personally, from Aster right off the bat. We start strong.
We're starting strong, chat. We're already starting strong with the misplays. Playmaker, protagonist of Brains, used back row removal once. He got hit with Mirror Force Launcher, if I remember. I don't know anything about Brains, so I'm like... we wanna watch that at some point too, I'm sure. Aster's so washed. Remember when he was the 4th best duelist in the world? I remember.
Sora's turn, and he draws. His
I don't even know who this
person
consists
of Edge Imp, Fright for Lloyd, Fright for Sanctuary, Fright for Fusion, Fright for Mad Parade, and 2 mysterious cards. Sora starts by activating his Fright for Sanctuary. Now, by discarding 1 card in his hand,
this Aster is from a different dimension?
Fusions from his extra deck to the grave, he can treat all fusion monsters he controls as Fright for monsters. He discards Edge Imp Fright for Lloyd and sends Fright for Bear and Fright for Tiger from his extra deck to the grave. Now, with 3 Fright for monsters in his grave, he activates his Fright for Fusion spell, which lets him summon a Fright for Fusion monster using his field and grave. He banishes Fright for Lloyd, which is treated as a Fright for monster in the grave, along with Fright for Bear and Fright for Tiger to summon Fright for Chimera. Sora enters his battle phase and attacks and destroys the final Supreme King Darkworm. Zark gains the damage he would have taken. Now, a little bit of stuff happens here. Zark tells Sora, since pendulum monsters go to the extra deck face up when they are destroyed, Chimera's effect to steal the monster from the grave doesn't work. Sora replies by saying, I know, I'm just trying to mirror something that happened between me and Yuya back in the past. Do you remember Yuya? You're inside of him. Can you come out and...
I don't think that worked, right?
It doesn't work, basically. However, the question then becomes, did Sora throw this turn just so he could reach out to Yuya stuck inside of Zark? No, actually, the play that Sora did was pretty much the only play he had available to him. This is because there were no alternative fusions he could have gone into, since all of the Fright Fur fusions require either a specific Edge Imp monster or sometimes a specific Fluffle monster. Since there was
Okay. All the legacy characters, Jack Atlas, Crow Hogan, and Aster Phoenix as examples, are slightly different people from their original counterparts. So I should not expect their cards, right? The cards that we know from the original animes, yeah. Fright Fur is a cool deck. It's one of those that if you build and play it right, you can pretty much do anything in the game. Well, I feel like that's the best archetypes do like everything, right? If you play it right, of course. So yeah.
There's nothing really else he could have gone for apart from Fright Fur Sabertooth, and that wouldn't really made a big difference. That's what we really had. Sora sets his Fright Fur Mad Parade face down and ends his turn. It's back to Zark, and he draws Astrograph Sorcerer. Since he controls no monsters, Zark immediately initiates a Pendulum Summon. He brings back the 2 Dark Worms that are face up in his extra deck. Since a monster was special summoned while Aster controls a Destiny Hero monster, Aster activates his trap, the Hypernova. This destroys all monsters the opponent controls that were special summoned this turn. However,
what do you mean, Pablo? What do you mean waits is when there are 2 versus 1 duels? There has always been weird duels like this. And this is not a 1 versus 2, this is a 1 versus a lot of people. And you're gonna see in this 50-minute video. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, if only someone popped his scales. Yeah, can you imagine if he didn't have the scales? It would be so different, right? Side fact, 90% of characters that fusion summon in this show are bad guys. I'm the bad guy,
that's not all. Since an effect that would destroy a card was activated while Sora controls a Fright Fur monster, he can activate his Fright Fur Mad Parade, which destroys all cards the opponent controls and then deals 500 damage for each one destroyed. Fright Fur Mad Parade destroys the 2 Dark Worms along with Zero and Infinity. Since 4 cards were destroyed, Zark takes 2000 damage. This big victory is short-lived because Zark activates the effect of his Astrograph Sorcerer in his hand. Since one of his cards was destroyed, Astrograph sends itself to the field. It then returns all destroyed cards back to the zones they were in before being destroyed. Zark's entire field is returned. However, he's not done, as he activates the second effect of Astrograph Sorcerer, which by tributing itself and then banishing Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, Clearwing Synchro Dragon, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon from his deck, extra deck, field, and or grave, he can perform an Integration Summon. He fuses Xyz pens these 4-dimensional dragons together, along with himself, to summon the ultimate boss monster, Supreme King Dragon Zark.
It's the card from the memes.
A lot of effects. I'm going to cover them all now so you know what it can and can't deal with. Pretty much, it can deal with everything. Zark is treated as a fusion.
Look at this card, bro. What am I looking at? it has 5 different colors. What the? Prepare to read. I'm not gonna read. You're not gonna make me read, chat. There is no way. Also, it's in Japanese, so let's make TGS anime explain it. Fusion Summon is evil. X is edgy. Synchro is just cool. And what is Pendulum? Cringe. Divine Fusion. Oh my god. Orange, purple, white, black, and green card borders. That is definitely a card. I wish like the card looked like this. Can you imagine if this was actually printed like this? Because I think like the printed version is just purple and green, right? Pendulum is main universe. Yeah, but it's cringe. I'm sorry.
Synchro Xyz and Pendulum Monster. This means that its level is also classed as its rank. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy as many cards your opponent controls as possible, then inflict damage equal to the total attack of the destroyed monsters. However, this card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. While there are Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters all banished in the graveyard, this card cannot be destroyed and is unaffected by card effects that would make it leave the field.
So a tower,
all
basically.
Monsters you control are unaffected by Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monster effects.
Oh, okay.
If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon up to 2 Supreme King Dragon monsters from your extra deck in defense. If an opponent adds a card to their hand outside of their draw phase, destroy it.
What? What? You can even draw cards. Oh my god. What is this, dude? What is this card? This is the most insane card I've seen in the anime, dude. And unlike the IRL cards, this is just bullet points stuff. Oh my god. Yeah, this card is insane. That and the Cannon. Wait, how do you beat this? I'm really curious. It's unaffected by everything, while there is like Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Banish in the graveyard, right? So you have to make them not unbanish or in the graveyard. You have to return them to the extra deck. Is that it? Is that how you defeat this? You could just Kaiju. I guess you can just Kaiju it.
Battle, you can special summon up adds. That's right, this is a very custom card.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse a little bit later because there are 4 Supreme King Dimensional Dragons in his extra deck that are always live and are waiting for the corresponding summoning mechanic to be summoned to the field so they can summon themselves to the field.
Oh my god.
We'll get to that when we get to it. But for now, since Zark summoned Zark...
It loses to Lava Golem, chat. It loses to Lava Golem, right? Kaiju is a solution for everything. Yeah, Kaijus are the only out for this. Lava Golem. Because he's gonna summon more dragons, right? So you can attribute the 2 of them. Yeah. Marik solo Zark confirmed. Yeah, Marik wins. Like, actually they needed Marik for this. No, he can pendulum summon again in the anime. Well, not in the opponent's turn, right? Not in the opponent's turn. So you just need to like Lava Golem this and then defeat him that single turn. That's the plan, right? You could also use this Sphere of what? Share the pain, since this forces your opponent to tribute monster. Ah, share the pain. And it makes your opponent tribute monster. That sounds interesting. Fusion materials is 1 Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Pendulum. Yeah. Wait, you can make it hit itself really hard with a Duel card. Right. That could also happen. I didn't fully read it. Will the classic Change of Heart and Tribute be an option? No, you cannot use Change of Heart because it's unaffected by opponent's card effects. Rexter win? No, I don't think Rexter wins. He's unaffected by our cards. The issue is they don't take damage with 0 and Infinity. They also don't take damage, right? So they don't die to Duel. He gains LP, he loses to Duel. Oh, yeah, Duel doesn't help. Yeah, the only out is like a Kaiju or Lava Golem or the Sphere, whatever.
Its effect activates. It destroys all of Asta and Sora's monsters and then deals damage equal to their combined attack. Asta and Sora lose the duel. Luckily though, since Kaiten Shun interrupted the duel, the world is not destroyed. The duel continues.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's Shun's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Raid Raptor.
Oh my god, the Raid Raptors are here!
Raid Raptor, Fuzzy Lanius, Overlay Burst Armor, Rank Up Magic Devotion Force, and Rank Up Magic Limit Over Force.
The chat goes wild! That's crazy. The Xyz crew arrives! Raid Raptor dude, yeah! Dude, I wasn't expecting this.
Shun starts by summoning his King Lanius. He uses its effect to summon another level 4 or lower Raid Raptor monster in his hand. He summons Vanishing Lanius. With Vanishing Lanius on the field, Fuzzy Lanius is allowed to special summon itself from his hand. With 3 level 4 monsters, he overlays all of them to Xyz summon his rank 4 Raid Raptor Rise Falcon. And here is where we get the new main gimmick of the Zark deck.
Okay.
Basically, in Zark's extra deck, there are 4 Supreme King Dimensional Dragons. Whenever the opponent summons a monster of one of the corresponding summoning mechanics, that monster is allowed to tribute 2 Supreme King monsters from his side of the field to summon themselves to the field. And in the case of the Xyz monster, it can overlay them both. I don't know why I'm telling you this now, because I'm about to tell you it right now. Since an Xyz monster was summoned, Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion's effect activates in the extra deck. It initiates an Xyz summon. It overlays the 2 level 4 Dark Worms to summon itself. Dark Rebellion's effect is monsters the opponent controls cannot target Xyz monsters for attacks except this one. If this card battles during damage calculation, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, target the opponent's battling monster, change its attack to 0, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's lost attack until the end of the turn. During either player's turn, you can return this card to the extra deck, special summon 2 Supreme King Dragon monsters from your grave, and if you do, the attack of all Xyz monsters your opponent controls becomes 0. With all that in mind, Shun activates the effect of his Rise Falcon by detaching one of its overlay materials. Now it can increase its attack by the combined attack of all special summon monsters the opponent controls. With a whopping 6,600 attack, Shun attempts to destroy Zark in battle. However, Zark reveals Dark Rebellion's effect, which prevents any other Xyz monster he controls from being attacked. So, Shun instead attacks Dark Rebellion. Rebellion's second effect activates. When it battles by detaching one of its materials, the attacking monster's attack is reduced to 0, and then it gains the lost attack. If this attack is successful, Shun will lose the duel. However, luckily, since Rise Falcon would be destroyed by this battle, Shun activates his quick play spell, Overlay Burst Armor. By detaching all the overlay materials from his monster, he can prevent its destruction and any battle damage. Shun and Rise Falcon
we're just like
survive. Shun ends his turn by setting Rank Up Magic Devotion Force and Rank Up Magic Limit Over Force face down. Could Shun have done anything different during this turn?
I mean, what else can you do,
Not
honestly?
really. The only other Xyz monster we could have gone into was Force Strix. That would have let him add another Raid Raptor monster from his deck to his hand. But the problem is he doesn't have any like rank up cards that he can use this turn to go on the offensive. So no, not really. And whatever monster he would have added before Strix wouldn't have let him get any kind of rank up card. So that's the best we're going to get this turn, unfortunately.
Disappointing.
It's Kite's turn, and he draws.
All right.
His opening hand consists of 2 copies.
What are these? What are these cards?
Double Exposure, Rank Up Magic Limit Over Force, Rank Up Gravity, and a mysterious card. Kite summons his Cypher Wing to the field. Since the Cypher Wing is on the field, he can special summon Cypher Wing in his hand.
It's that easy, Chad.
Next, he activates his continuous spell, Double Exposure. Now, once per turn, during either player's turn, he can target 2 level 6 or lower monsters on the field with the same name. Their levels become double. And or target 1 monster on the field, then target 1 other monster on the same controller's field. The first target's name becomes the same as the second target's. Kite uses the first effect to double the levels of Cypher Wing. Now, with 2 level 8 monsters, he overlays them both to exceed
there it is, the big boy.
8 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon.
Looks kinda weird.
He uses its effect by detaching one of its materials to take control of a monster the opponent controls. And when he does, its name and stats become the same as this monster's. However, it can't attack directly, and its effects are negated. Kite tries to take Dark Rebellion. However, Zark reveals that while Supreme King Dragon Zark is on the field, all his monsters are immune to Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monster effects. Kite, knowing he can't win in a battle with Rebellion, ends his turn by setting Rank Up Magic Limit Over Force, Rank Up Gravity, and a mysterious card. It's back to Zark, and he draws Supreme Face Off. Zark moves straight into his battle phase and orders Dark Rebellion to attack Cypher Dragon. He uses its effect by detaching its last material to boost its attack and then reduce the opponent's attack. In response, Shun activates his Rank Up Magic Devotion Force. This card can only be activated when an opponent's monster declares an attack. He can target 1 Xyz monster he controls, then summon 1 new Xyz monster using it as a material that is 1 rank higher. Then, the newly summoned monster becomes the new attack target. Rise Falcon ranks up into the rank 5 Raid Raptor Blaze Falcon. Next, since a monster was summoned via the effect of a Rank Up Magic card,
I don't know why this is so funny to me, I'm so sorry. But it's like, I feel like all of this is pointless. Like, I'm watching something that doesn't matter at the end.
Target an Xyz monster
like, he's just gonna keep revealing more effects and more effects and nothing is gonna happen.
Using it as a material. As well, the summoned monster's attack is times by the number of Rank Up Magic
this is also just normal for Xyz cards,
duel until the end of the turn. Cypher Dragon is ranked up into the rank 9 Neo Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon.
Oh my god.
And its attack is multiplied by 2, since 2 rank ups have been used so far.
All these rank up magics. And
Hilariously,
for what?
Shay also activates his own rank up magic limit Overforce. He halves his own life points and ranks up Blaze Falcon into the rank 6 Raid Raptor Revolution Falcon. Its attack is tripled since 3 rank ups have been used in the duel now.
I think I know that guy.
We're still not done. Kite activates his second continuous trap.
There is more.
Rank up Gravity. Now, while
I
he
am
controls
bigger
an
than
Xyz
you.
monster, special summon with a rank up magic spell card, monsters the opponent controls can only attack those monsters. Also, monsters the opponent controls that do not attack are banished at the end of the battle phase. If Kite doesn't control an Xyz monster with a rank up magic spell, however, this card destroys itself. And if it does this during the battle phase,
showed up right now.
the battle
It would be
phase
so cool,
immediately ends. The plan is solid on paper and is a genuinely good way of getting rid of Zark. Zark can't protect itself with any of its abilities from spells and traps, as long as there isn't a Fusion Synchro and Xyz monster in both graveyards. So at the moment, this could work. Just kidding. Zark activates the last effect of his Dark Rebellion, which lets it bounce itself back to the extra deck in order to summon 2 Supreme King Dragon monsters into the grave. And when he does, the attack of all Xyz monsters the opponent controls are reduced to 0. If you wondered, by the way, why the Dark Worms were in the graveyard and not face up in the extra deck, because you thought, wait, I thought Pendulum monsters don't go to the grave.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
Well, that only applies if they leave from the field. If they are sent from an Xyz material, it's not actually classed as being sent from the field, so they go to the grave. Pendulums are wacky, alright?
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get
that's definitely wacky.
Fish, but the more you know. On the brink of defeat, Kite and Shun both grab an action card to try and keep themselves.
That would be so hype.
However, Zark reveals the other
Kite like grabbing one of the
Supreme
cards
King
out of
Dragon
nowhere.
Zark, which is that if a card is added from outside of the draw phase, well, they're destroyed. With nothing left to help them, Zark's Dark Worms attack and destroy
The Supreme
both
Kings
of
have this
Kite and
effect.
Shun's monsters.
Yeah, I mean, not to surprise me anymore.
From the duel.
And that's
Luckily, since Jack Atlas and Gong Strong intervened in the duel continues. It's Jack's turn, and he draws.
This is so weird, dude. Oh my god, it's a resonator.
Gargoyle, Brutal Red, Dark Resonator, Net Resonator, and Vision Synchro. Since Jack controls no monsters, he can special summon Red Gargoyle straight to the field. He then summons his Red Resonator. Since a red monster was summoned to the field while Red Gargoyle was on the field, its effect activates. It doubles the level of the summoned monster. With a level 4 non-tuner and a level 4 tuner, he tunes them together to synchro summon his very soul, Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. Since a synchro summon occurred, Zark activates the effect of his Supreme King Dragon Clear Wing in his extra deck. He tributes his 2 Supreme King Dark Worms to synchro summon it to the field. Now, Clearwing's effect is, if this card is special summon, you can make as many face-up
what do you have to hear me with wall of text like this, dude? I swear to God, what is this? And this is our... No, I'm not gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. You cannot do this to me.
As your opponent currently controls as possible have their effects negated,
Mucho
and if you
texto,
do,
dude.
destroy them. Monsters your opponent controls cannot target synchro monsters for attacks except this one. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can target that opponent's monster, negate the attack, and if you do, destroy that target. And if you do that, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the
so it's a bunch of protection. It's like every protection you can imagine, it happens.
2 Supreme King Dragon Pendulum monsters from your extra deck, and if you do, the attack of all synchro monsters your opponent currently controls becomes 0. And so, on Clearwing's summon, its effect activates, attempting to negate the effects of all the opponent's monsters and then destroy them. However, Jack responds with his Brutal Red monster in hand, which, by discarding it when exactly 1 red monster he controls...
This is why this is the longest duel analysis video. Makes sense.
Until the end of the turn, that monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card
Gong doesn't go for
and gains 1,000
action cards.
attack.
Cool.
Scarlight survives and gains 1,000 attack points. Jack moves into his battle phase and uses Scarlight to attack Clearwing. Clearwing's second effect kicks in. Since a monster attacked it, it negates the attack and then destroys the opponent's monster and deals damage to the opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack. Luckily, Scarlight isn't destroyed thanks to Brutal Red's protection. However, the attack is prevented.
Okay.
Jack ends his turn by setting Vision Synchro face down. It's Gong's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Super Heavy Samurai Battle Ball, Super Heavy Samurai Hexagon, Super Heavy Samurai Blue Brawler, Super Heavy Samurai Swordsman, Super Heavy Samurai Big Bankai, and Super Heavy Samurai War Chief.
What, this is just monsters, dude.
Gong summons his Battle Ball to the field. He then special summons Hexagon thanks to its effects. He tunes his level 6 non-tuner with his level 2 tuner to synchro summon Super Heavy Samurai Swordsmith in defense. Upon summon, its effect activates, letting him summon as many Super Heavy Samurai monsters in his hand as possible.
What an effect,
he summons Blue Brawler, Swordsman, and Big Bankai all in defense. Unable to attack over Clearwing due to its effect, Gong ends his turn. Now, Gong has a few monsters on the field. Do they have any abilities?
They look kinda heavy, I don't know.
Blue Brawler can't be destroyed by battle. Swordsman makes any monster it battles lose its attack after. Big Bankai can attack in defense. So, they're alright abilities, but nothing great. Question 2 then becomes, could Gong have gone into any different synchro monsters to go more on the offensive?
What if only
here?
monsters were
nice
usable?
style, but still... Not really. The only other card he could have gone for was Super Heavy Samurai Ninja Sarutobi.
They can attack while defense,
while
their defense is basically the attack.
There are no spells or traps in his grave.
Okay, so he's just
I don't
to
think
protect
he could have
themselves,
used this to
if I
destroy one of
understand
Zark's Pendulum
correctly.
monsters, because all the graveyards are shared, and there are definitely spells and traps in his graveyard, so I think that's off limit for him. It's Zark's turn, and he draws Supreme Presence. He activates it straight away, equipping it to his Clearwing. Now, while equipped to a monster, any effect the equipped monster uses that would target exactly one monster instead becomes all monsters the opponent controls. Zark moves into his battle phase and orders Clearwing to attack Big Bankai. Since Clearwing is involved in a battle, he activates its effect to negate its own attack. However, instead of destroying just Big Bankai, Supreme Presence changes the destruction to be all the opponent's monsters. Luckily, Gong activates the effect of his Super Heavy Samurai
What is
War
this?
Chief Heavy Strong in his hands, since a monster he controls will be destroyed by a card effect. He can target one monster on the field and then tribute one
the card
Super
that
Heavy
exists in
Samurai
Japanese is probably not
monster he
printed.
controls to
Yeah,
special summon
that
it.
makes sense.
The battle phase immediately comes to an end, and the targeted monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects this turn. Gong targets Jack's Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend to protect it from Zark's destruction. The battle phase ends, however, everything other than these two monsters are destroyed. Jack and Gong each take damage equal to the total attack of the monsters destroyed. Luckily,
I like how Jack is just
don't
sitting
have
there.
much attack, so they
So
only
funny.
take 1000 damage. Zark ends his turn. It's Jack's turn, and he draws Red Sprinter. He activates his set trap, Vision Synchro, which lets him synchro summon using monsters in his hand. However, whatever he summons is returned to the extra deck at the end of the turn. He tunes his level 4 non-tuner Red Sprinter with his 2 level 3 tuners, Dark Resonator and Net Resonator, in order to double tune his level 10 synchro monster, Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. Since Net Resonator was used for its synchro summon, its effect prevents Jack from taking any effect damage while he controls the summoned monster.
Whoa.
Gong adds to this protection by activating the quick effect of Heavy Strong. Now, by targeting 2 cards on the field, he can make them unable to be destroyed this turn. He targets Jack's Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend and Jack's Tyrant Red Dragon Archfiend. Jack enters his battle phase and attacks Clearwing with Scarlight. Clearwing's effect activates, negating the attack and then destroying all the opponent's monsters. Scarlight and Tyrant are not destroyed thanks to Heavy Strong, however Heavy Strong is destroyed. Gong takes the total attack of the destroyed monsters as damage. Gong is eliminated from the duel. With the way cleared, Jack continues his attack. He attacks with Tyrant Dragon next, targeting Clearwing. The attack is successful. Clearwing is destroyed. 0
cool, but now what?
And instead increase Zark's life points by the damage he would have taken. As Jack's turn comes to an end, Vision Synchro returns Tyrant Dragon back to the extra deck. So, I know what you're thinking. After all of that,
exactly.
What has Jack really achieved here? Well, with Clear Wing off of the field, that does mean that Zark can't summon his 2 Dark Worms anymore because he can't Pendulum Summon while he controls a monster because he's got Zark on the field. Clear Wing was one of the ways he could have got those 2 Zark Worms back, and he can't do that anymore. So, essentially, Zark's extra deck is out of commission.
Okay.
For now. It's Zark's turn, and he draws Supreme Disdain. Zark moves straight into his battle phase and attacks and destroys Scarlight Dragon. Jack is eliminated.
Alright.
Before the world would be destroyed, Sawatari and Crow Hogan intrude on the duel. So, the duel continues.
So who is Sawatari?
And unfortunately, everything Jack and Gong achieved is undone.
Sawatari the goat?
Zark is
Wait, who is Sawatari?
Since it destroyed a monster by battle, it summons 2 Supreme King Dragons from his extra deck. He summons the 2 Dark Worms back to the field into defense. Zark sets Supreme Rage, Supreme Disdain, and face up, face down, and ends his turn.
Oh, Sawatari's Julia's Chas. That's all I need. That's all I need. I already know everything about this character, dude. That's so funny.
It's Crow's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Blackwing Kochi the Daybreak, Blackwing Gladius the Midnight Sun, Black Feather Illusion, Black Feather Reversal, and 2 mysterious cards. Crow summons his Kochi the Daybreak to the field. Since there are only Blackwing monsters on his side of the field, he can special summon Gladius the Midnight Sun from his hand straight to the field. He tunes his level 3 non-tuner with his level 4 tuner to synchro summon Assault Blackwing Raikiri the Rain Shower. Since a synchro summon occurs,
I thought this all looks like so silly and so pointless. I don't know how this is gonna end to make it like
graveyard,
satisfactory.
Which is the only one of the extra deck monsters that can do that, so it's lucky that this one went to the grave. On its summon, its effect activates, negating the effects of all monsters the opponent controls and then destroys them. However, Crow activates his Black Feather Illusion, since a Blackwing Synchro monster was destroyed. This lets him
plays different decks like
Chas
Chas
with its effects negated. Crow moves into his battle phase.
I think Chas had like one deck that he just like a lot of cards. The one that played different deck was like Bastion, right? Whatever his name was in Japanese, I don't remember.
Attacks Clearwing. Clearwing uses its battle effect to negate the attack and then destroy the attacking monster. Raikiri is destroyed.
So they eventually settle for
can take any damage, he activates Black Feather Reversal. It has the effect, if a monster battles or when a card or effect is activated that would inflict damage to a player, make the damage from that battle or effect 0. Then special summon 1 Blackwing Synchro monster from the extra deck with the same attack as the original damage. No battle damage occurs, and since Crow would have taken 2600 damage, he summons his 2600 attack, Assault Blackwing Chidori the Rain Sprinkling. Chidori's effect allows it to gain 300 attack for each Blackwing monster in the grave. Since there are 3, it gains 900 attack. Crow attacks again with it, this time successfully destroying Clearwing. The effect of Black Feather Illusion in the graveyard activates. Since a Blackwing monster attacked, this card can banish itself in the grave and then negate the effects of all spell cards the opponent controls until the end of the damage step. 0 and Infinity are negated. Zark takes a bit of damage for once. However, don't let this little win get to your head too quickly, because Zark, well, he won't give you an inch. Zark, not wanting to give the good guys even a second's worth of a win, activates his set Continuous Trap.
So that was set for a long time, right?
Now, with this continuous card on the field, once per turn during the opponent's battle phase, if Zark controls a Supreme King monster, he can target one monster the opponent controls and force it to attack, even if it has already attacked. Also, once per turn, if a Supreme King monster battles, or when a card or effect is activated that would destroy a Supreme King card you control, that Supreme King card cannot be destroyed by that battle or effect. During your
there's more! Okay.
Opponent's battle phase, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard. All monsters your opponent controls that did not attack this turn must attack. You choose the attack targets for those attacks. And so
bro, that effect never, dude. It just that effect keeps going, dude. What is it? I wanted to read the chat. I wanted to pause, and I was like, wait, this effect that just keeps going, dude. Oh my god. I know you want these cards, but there is a good reason why they are not printed. Oh my, I know.
So, Chidori is forced to attack Supreme King
Cards
Dragon
are novels worth of text, totally.
Since
average
Supreme
simple
King
anime
Dragon
effects be
Zark
like,
destroyed a monster by
this is
battle,
the average one.
it summons back the 2 Dark Worms from his extra deck into defense. Since Chidori was destroyed, its effect special summons a Winged Beast Synchro monster in the grave. He brings back Raikiri. Crow can't attack one of the Dark Worms because the Dark Worms have the ability that they can negate an attack if there's another Supreme King monster on the field. So, with that, Crow moves into his main phase 2 and activates Raikiri's effect to destroy cards equal to the number of Blackwing monsters he controls. He attempts to destroy Face Off. However, Face Off protects itself through its effect. Crow ends his turn. Now, a little talk from me personally here. This is one of those duels where there's so much going on. There's like so much.
No, that one's printed? No way, dude.
And it's all Pendulum monsters. They got like paragraphs worth of effects and stuff. I feel like all I'm doing is just reading effects of everything, but it's so crucial to the duel, so you know what's going on, kind of thing. And then stuff's happening.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
It's a lot.
It's
a lot of stuff happening. And a lot more is about to happen.
It's like Sark's cards all protect themselves and they don't let you do anything, and he just keeps getting more LP and stuff. Let's play all Trap Labyrinth can search. What? Yeah, which one is printed? The long effect trap card. Yeah, the trap card. The one that I was saying like keeps going. Apparently that one is printed. This one. I'm pretty sure it will be a different version of this. I don't think this is exactly that card, right? No.
It's Sawatari's turn, and he draws. His opening hand
like it's a natural evolution of Star Wars.
Actor Evil Heal,
players on crack.
Funk Comedian.
Oh, this is the Abyss
Actor
actor.
Superstar, Abyss Actor Wild Hope, Abyss Actor Leading Lady, and Abyss Script Abyss-tainment. Sawatari places his Scale 1 Evil Heal and Scale 8 Funk Comedian into his Pendulum zones. He Pendulum summons his Superstar, Wild Hope, and Leading Lady from his hand straight to the field. Since a Pendulum summon occurred, the effect of Supreme King Odd Eyes activates in Zark's extra deck. He tributes his 2 Dark Worms to summon it to the field. This monster's effect is... monsters the opponent controls cannot target Pendulum monsters for attacks except this one. Each turn, the first Pendulum card or cards on the field that will be destroyed by a battle or card effect are not destroyed. Any battle damage your opponent takes from attacks involving Pendulum monsters is doubled. During either player's turn, you can return this card to the extra deck face up, special summon 2 other Supreme King Dragon Pendulum monsters from your extra deck, and if you do, the attackable face-up monsters your opponent currently controls becomes 0. Sawatari activates his Superstar's effect, which lets him add an Abyss Script spell from his deck. He adds Abyss Script Rise of the Abyss King. Since a card was added from outside the draw phase, it is immediately destroyed due to Zark's effect. Sawatari activates his continuous spell, Abyss Script Abyss-tainment. He uses its effect. By tributing an Abyss Actor, he can set an Abyss Script spell in his grave onto his field. He tributes his Leading Lady to set Rise of the Abyss King in the grave. Sawatari activates his Rise of the Abyss King. With its effect, he can target face-up cards on the field up to the number of attack position Abyss Actor monsters with different names he controls and then destroy them. And since he controls a level 7 or higher Abyss Actor monster, Zark cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Meaning, Zark's trap card can't protect his cards from being destroyed. And so, Sawatari targets Zark Odd Eyes to be destroyed. However, of course, Zark's Odd Eyes reveals its ability to prevent the first destruction of any Pendulum card on the field. Sawatari, unfazed, attempts to do this a second time. He uses Abyss Entertainment, tributes his Wild Hope, to set Rise of the Abyss King back face down. He activates it again, attempting to destroy Zark.
And now what?
At this point in the duel, it really does seem like the good guys have gotten the upper hand and are finally gonna get rid of Zark for the first time in the entire duel. Everything can't be activated in response. There's no more protections to keep Zark alive that they know of. So, is it finally gonna work? No. Zark reveals the final super secret effect of Supreme King Dragon Zark. Since there are Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters in the opponent's grave
so it wasn't revealed
or
before.
Banish Zone, This card cannot be destroyed and is unaffected by effects that would remove it from the field. So as long as all 3 summoning mechanics are in their graveyards or banished, this monster is incapable of being removed.
So that's what I was saying, right? Like, what's
That's
gonna...
a tough order. You're literally gonna have to get rid of the entire graveyard and all the banished cards.
Yeah, exactly. How do you do that?
Or do something. How are they gonna do this? We'll get to that in a minute. Zark activates the last effect of his Supreme Face-Off. He sends it to the grave to force all monsters.
It's like the only counter is creature swap. It's not, because it's unaffected by card effects.
Both attack into Zark. Both are destroyed, and double damage is dealt due to Odd Eyes' effects. Crow and Sawatari are eliminated from the duel. Luckily, Leo Akaba has jumped into the duel, and I would be amiss not to bring up this fun little dub moment.
Zark, what?
It's Leo's turn, and he draws. Little dub moments.
Zark, what?
It's Leo's
Oh my god, dude.
turn to bring up this fun little dub moments.
Zark, what?
It's
Oh, okay. Well... Alright, so this guy Leo is supposed to be like a mad scientist dictator from the Fusion universe? Question mark? So he was to be the main antagonist, and now he's just the guy in here, ready to save the world. I assume, right? I would hope so. So we'll see how that goes.
Leo's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of Spirit Collapse, End Birds, End Winds, End Flowers, End Moon, and a mysterious card. Now,
I have no idea what this is.
End cards are the natural counter to Zark. It defeated him long ago, and they're being used now to try and beat him again. It's very lucky that the professor has all 4 of those cards in his opening hand, I must say.
Very convenient, right? Almost like...
feels like he stacked the deck, which is funny because he's lost the duel already. Leo activates...
Oh, no, dude. No way. I don't know why one of his anime-only cards is part of a limited over collection heroes. I don't know. If he doesn't save the world, he does die. Imagine stacking the deck and still losing. I wonder how that's gonna go.
His Spirit Collapse. By paying 1,000 life points, he can send a fusion monster from his extra deck to the grave. He sends Master Spirit Tech Force Pendulum.
Oh my god, what is this card?
Why did he send his fusion monster to the graveyard? Everyone's like, is he just making Zark stronger here? Well, it turns out that the end cards require 3 of each summoning mechanic in the graveyard. That's spoilers for later, but we'll find that out a bit later. The professor experiences 2 seconds of being the main character before everything goes wrong. Zark, in response, activates his set, Supreme Disdain. This lets him look at Leo's hand and then send cards in his hand to the grave equal to the number of Supreme King cards he controls, and then for every card he sends, the opponent will take 300 damage. He chooses End Birds, End Flowers, End Moon, and End Winds. Leo is eliminated from the duel without ever getting a chance to play his special cards, and oh my god, that's terrible.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry, what?
For later, but we'll find that out a bit later. The professor experiences 2 seconds of being the main character before everything goes wrong. Zark, in response, activates his set, Supreme Disdain. This lets him look at Leo's hand and then send cards in his hand to the grave equal to the number of Supreme King cards he controls, and then for every card he sends, the opponent will take 300 damage. He chooses
That's so convenient, dude.
End Flowers, End Moon, and End Winds. Leo is eliminated from the duel without ever getting a chance to play his special cards.
That's so sad.
Oh my god, that's terrible. I just want to point this out. That was what we thought the main villain of this show just getting OTK'd. I think that's hilarious. But oh wait, is the world about to end?
Oh.
It's Reggie's turn, and he draws. His opening hand consists of
it's
two
a
copies of
DD.
DD Savant Nicola, DD Savant Schrodinger, DD Savant Dirac, DD Night Owl, and DD Vice Typhon. Reggie places his Scale 2 Schrodinger and Scale 8 Dirac into his Pendulum zones. He Pendulum summons every monster
the guy
in
about
his
the show.
hand. He
Okay.
overlays the 2 level 6 Nicolas to Xyz summon DDD Wave Hiking Caesar. He
That's the
tunes his
guy.
level 7
I know that
non-tuner
guy.
Typhon with his level 3 tuner Night Owl to synchro summon DDD Gust Hiking Alexander. And finally, he activates the effect of Vice Typhon in his grave, which lets it banish itself and another monster to fuse them both together. He merges Typhon with Night Owl to fusion summon DDD Flame King High Genghis. Since there are 2 or more DD monsters on the field, High King Alexander's attack doubles. Reggie activates High King Genghis's effect, which lets him negate a spell or trap for as many DD monsters he controls until the standby phase. He negates Zark's 0 and Infinity. Zark responds with his Odd Eyes' final effect. He bounces it back to the extra deck and summons 2 Dark Worms to the field. However, as an effect that would summon a monster was activated, Reggie activates Caesar's effect. By detaching one of its materials, he can negate the effect, and
That's
then add the
happened to
attack
me.
of
That's so
whatever would
relatable.
have been summoned to itself until the end of the turn. It gains the attack of one of the Dark Worms that would have been summoned. Reggie then activates the other effect of Caesar. Since its attack increased through its own effect, by detaching its last overlay material, he can give the attack boost to another monster. He gives it to High King Genghis. Reggie moves into his battle phase and attacks Supreme King Dragon Zark. While unable to be destroyed due to its protection effect, with 0 and Infinity negated, Zark still takes the damage from the 3 attacks. Reggie ends his turn. As he does, Zark activates his final set trap, Supreme Rage. Since he took over 2,000 battle damage from a single attack while he controlled Supreme King Dragon Zark, he can now destroy all monsters he controls other than Zark. He can then special summon 1 Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, 1 Supreme King Dragon Clear Wind, 1 Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion, and 1 Supreme King Dragon Odd Eyes from his extra deck and or graveyard, ignoring their summoning conditions. Then attach 2 Supreme King Dragon Dark Worms from his extra deck and or graveyard to Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion as an
This is a real card,
material.
apparently.
Note that monsters special summoned by this effect have their effects negated until the end of the turn. That doesn't really matter because it's the end of the turn right now, so they're going to get their effects back in 3, 2, 1. It's Zark's turn, and he draws a mysterious card. Zark moves straight into his battle phase. He orders Clearwing to attack Alexander. He activates its effect to negate its own attack and then destroy the opponent's battling monster, and then deal damage equal to its attack. Since Reggie would take effect damage, he uses his Pendulum monster Dirac's effect, which summons itself to the field in defense and then reduces any effect damage to 0. Reggie survives. Zark next orders Dark Rebellion to attack Caesar. He activates its effect by detaching one of its materials to reduce the opponent's monster's attack and then add the lost attack to itself.
Okay, so how is this gonna end now?
Would now
I'm curious.
take battle damage. He activates the Pendulum effect of his Schrodinger, which summons itself to the field and then reduces battle damage to 0. Reggie survives again. Zark activates his Starving Venom's effect, which negates and then copies a monster's effect on the field to itself. He steals Alexander's effect. Since Starving Venom is now on the field with 2 other DD monsters, its attack doubles. Starving Venom attacks and destroys Genghis. Before Reggie can take the damage, he uses the monster effect of Schrodinger, which also negates battle damage once per turn. Zark orders Eyes to attack and destroy Dirac. It's destroyed, and since Starving Venom gives all his monsters piercing battle damage, and Odd Eyes doubles battle damage with Pendulum monsters, Reggie takes double piercing damage. Last, but certainly not least, Zark orders Supreme King Dragon Zark to attack Schrodinger for game. Schrodinger is destroyed, and the double piercing battle damage eliminates Reggie.
So he loses.
Is this the end of the world? Reggie was our last hope? No, we have one final defense. Rayra, who is currently possessed by Ray. It's Ray's turn, and she draws. Her opening hand consists of Life Transformation, CC Critical Eye, Film Magician,
they just keep jumping in,
Fusion, Nightmare Critical Loop, and Photo Frame. Right off the bat, she activates Life Transformation. This lets
Yeah,
us
I don't even
send
know.
our
I don't know who
entire
this
hand
is.
to the grave, a minimum
Raise
of
the girl
4
that
cards,
originally
and then
defeated
target
Zark?
4 spells
No way,
in
dude.
any graveyard and set them on her field. She discards her entire hand and then sets the 4 cards Leo Akaba wanted to play. End birds, end flowers, end moon, and end winds. And here is where Ray begins the undoing of Zark's infinite protections. Ray activates end
So it
flowers,
wasn't for nothing
followed
then.
by end birds. End birds can only be activated if there are 3 or more Xyz monsters in any graveyard or banish zone, and end flowers is face up on the field. Now, Xyz monsters on the field, in the grave, and the banish zone become normal monsters with no effects. Dark Rebellion and Zark are no longer Xyz monsters, along with all the Xyz monsters in Ray's Grey and Banish zone. Next, Ray activates End Winds. Since there are 3 or more Synchro monsters in the grave or banished while End Flowers is on the field, all Synchro monsters on the field, in the grave, and banished become normal monsters with no effect.
Interesting.
Clearwing and Zark are no longer Synchro monsters, along with all the Synchros in Ray's grave. Next, Ray activates End Moon. Since there are 3 or more fusion monsters in the grave or banished while End Flowers is on the field. All fusion monsters on the field, in the grave, and banished become normal monsters with no effect. Starving Venom and Zark are no longer fusion monsters, along with all fusions in Ray's grave. Finally, since End Birds, Winds, Moon, and Flowers are all face up on the field, Ray can activate Flowers effect. This card negates the effects of all monsters on the field and then destroys them. And then for each one destroyed and sent to the graveyard inflicts 600 damage. The 4-dimension dragons, along with Supreme King Dragon Zark, are destroyed by this effect. However, since Zark and Odd Eyes were pendulum monsters, they didn't go to the grave. So Zark only takes 1800 damage. Here, Yuzu manages to draw out Yuya finally from Zark. It's Yuya's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Smile Universe.
Smile Universe,
He activates it immediately. Now, Yuya can special summon as many pendulum monsters from his extra deck as possible, but they are treated as normal monsters with no effects. The opponent gains life points equal to the total attack of the summoned monsters. Neither player can normal or special summon other monsters, and monsters cannot attack during the turn this card is activated. Yuya brings back Zark and Supreme King Odd Eyes. Ray gains 6,500 life points.
Okay,
dude.
It's
a little bit of a
whatever you
moment
say,
here,
bro.
but controls himself enough to simply end his turn. I mean, it's not like he could have attacked anyway. His card made it so that he could
Smile,
really
smiley
done,
face.
So, regardless, it's
honestly
Ray's turn. And
I'm actually kind of sad that Ray didn't get a dedicated archetype.
She draws and gets a mysterious card.
If it's like the
she
one who
activates
defeats
the
the
effect
main
of End Flowers again. Zark and Odd
main
Eyes are destroyed and sent to the graveyard
guy,
since they were treated as normal monsters by Smile Universe. Zark/Yuya loses the duel. And oh my god, that is the longest duel I think I have ever done. That took me 1 hour and 30 minutes to do that from talking with mistakes and everything. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but oh my god, this was a long time. Please subscribe to the channel or give this video a like, because
I've already subscribed, but I'm definitely liking this.
How much effort that was. To simplify this duel, it was very scripted. There was very little room for
I don't know.
plays throughout the entire thing. People had cards that were just going to do their certain plays and stuff.
I really like it, but I feel like there were some characters that just appeared for like, it seemed like for fan service. I know that they made it at the end, like everything like was part of it. Everything was important. But not really, honestly. I feel like, I mean, I guess, I don't know, like all the monsters that they summoned were important at the end. But I don't know, I wasn't a big fan, honestly. It was cool for fan service, right? To see all the characters together and stuff. I'm sure it must have been like a really cool moment in the anime, especially watching this week to week. But here, I don't know. Even Alexis appear only to be worfed. This duel is cool in concept, but pretty messy. Yeah, the execution is not that good. I feel like most characters didn't do anything. I wish there was like a cool, like, I don't know, like teamwork between them, and it didn't feel like that, honestly. 5 episodes and 20 turns long. Yeah, worf means jobbed. Okay, jobbed. Sorry, what? What? I like that. I love that. That is amazing. at least we got that. At least we got that from the dub. Yeah.
Zark, it was insane the amount of protect. Literally, it was an impossible duel to win unless they had those Deus Ex Machina end cards. Other than that, they would have had to have probably bounced all of the cards in the graveyard back into the deck.
Yeah, I thought that was the plan.
It should have been really hard. I guess a Kaiju would be the only way really to deal with Zark, and even then I'm not too sure, since it's something that would remove it from the field. I assume you probably can't tribute over it, but that's probably the only way they could have done with it, but I don't think a single person plays any Kaijus in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 franchise.
Well, I don't know the full story, but yeah, I didn't really feel like the legacy characters were necessary. It didn't feel like that. Also, they didn't include anyone from the original Duel Monsters thingy, right? That what? Sounded like Sark was just tired and just wanted to go home and yeah, it's like, yeah, just let it die, please. The Warp effect means the character meant to be strong is used by the writers to showcase new enemy strength by beating them. Oh, do it a lot. People don't see the character as strong anymore. Oh, I see. Is that what happened to Chaz? I think that's what happened to Chaz, right? He just kept losing. Same with Sane. Sane just kept losing. Just to show like how the main antagonist was like stronger than GX. Yeah, Chaz got the worst of it. Yeah, Chaz at least got wins after a while. At least he got some kind of wins. OG players will have won. They have rituals and magic seal in there. yeah. Thank you, Rocket Paul. But yeah, Sane got worse. I think so, dude. I think like there is a video about that. I'm pretty sure there is. It would be so cool to watch that too. But yeah, okay, let's see how...
While I will say that the duel is cool in some aspects and Zark is a pretty boss monster, sometimes there's such thing as too many protections, which I know is kind of the theme of this duel. Zark is so afraid of losing. He's like cocooned himself in all these protection and everyone starts making fun of him. He's like, you're so afraid of losing. What's wrong with you? So I guess that's part of the theme of the duel. So I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Check out one of these two videos if you fancy, buy the merch if you fancy, or most important, subscribe to the channel. It'd mean a lot. Thank you for watching. Catch you later.
Alright, thank you so much, DS Anime, and thank you so much for recommending this duel. It was, honestly, it was really hype. Hype more than the actual like mechanics of the duel. It was really cool. So yeah, thank you so much.